Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by Genesis House, FirstNet, built with AT&T, and the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction. Join our hosts,
Podfather,
Jersey Ed,
and Noontime with Skylar Noon,
as they speak up about the real issues of addiction, treatment, and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your Friends in Recovery.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Friends in Recovery Podcast.com. I am the Podfather, Mike Miles.
Hey, guys. Jersey Ed here.
and it's Noontime with Sky.
What's up, Sky?
How's everybody doing?
Good. We got a special guest today, Podfathers. Harvey Howard. We're going to bring him on in a minute. But I just want to check in on everybody. You know, everybody likes to make sure that we're okay. A week goes by and they don't hear from us, and the next show pops up, and here we are. I got a new background. Skylar got a new background. Podfather has an old background.
Right. That's right.
But his is real. Ours
If
is
it's not broke,
simple.
if it's not broke, why fix it? You know what I mean?
That's right. That's it. So if you guys aren't watching on YouTube, what we're talking about is that I spent most of my therapy session this morning that I paid for doing fixing my background. So, and Skylar has a little background on hers too. And a Podfather doesn't. Podfather has all his awards over there, everything he does, and all his successful stuff in recovery, right, Podfather?
Yep.
Yeah, good. Well, if you want to ask the Podfather some questions about all that stuff, what it is, if you're watching us, you can call him at 617-379-1163. Or you can send him an email at help@friendsandrecoverypodcast.com. And we'll make sure we get back to you. And Sky, you want to tell us a little bit of how they can find out about our Friends in Recovery meetings? As you can see here, I have my Friends in Recovery background here. And we're doing a whole bunch of meetings, 2 meetings a week, 7 days a week, 2 meetings a day, 7 days a week. Right, Sky?
Yes. So you would go to Genesis House Facebook page, and there is groups on there. And there's a Friends in Recovery community group, and then there's a Genesis House alumni group. So that's the best way, is on the Genesis House page.
Mm-hmm. And there's Friends in Recovery Adventures too, guys.
Yes,
Sky,
it's another
that we're doing too. Yeah. So the Friends in Recovery Adventures is cool. The other thing too, you guys can go to genesishouse.net and see everything and look up Friends in Recovery, because there's a whole bunch of stuff there. There's the meeting list there. Everything's there as far as that goes. The other thing I want to do is sober dates, right, guys? Have we been asking for sober dates? We haven't gotten any yet, but if you can email us your sober date, we'll give you a shout out along with your name. And I'd like to give a quick shout out, guys. Today is Karla F's 1 year, guys. 1 year for Karla, and Harvey knows Karla.
All right.
Yeah.
Karla.
So Karla gets a 1 year today. So congratulations, Karla. So
Awesome.
yeah. So guys, that's enough of all that stuff. And Harvey Howard, a person in long-term recovery. Karla, from, if you guys are listening, any of you guys from Friends in Recovery are listening, Karla brought Harvey on as a speaker, and he just did a wonderful job. I was like, I gotta have him. I just burped in a microphone, guys. How rude was that? I mean, come on. Sorry about that, Harvey.
Pulled it off.
I did, right? I did. This is real. This is not there's no editing on this one.
No editing. No.
No. So, but well, that's a way to introduce him. Long-term recovery. He's in NA. He has a wonderful story, guys. I don't know if Skype you were on when he was on, but he has a great story. We're going to hear that here in a second. And Harvey, it is a pleasure to have you on. Seriously. I mean, it's just amazing, the story that you had and where you're at and what you do as far as recovery. You know, this man eats, sleeps, and breathes recovery, Podfather. So we're going to hear his story. So go ahead, Harvey, take it away.
All right, I'm Harvey. I'm an addict.
Hey, Harvey.
So, when I first, I started using young, 12 years old, used a variety of things. And, in my early 20s, when I was starting to wonder about maybe some of the problems in my life had to do with what I was using. And I spent like 7 years chasing around, changing coastlines and what time of day and all kind of limiting and trying to manage this addiction and get some, control. But it came clear to me that I was out of control. And at the time, and this is the ironic part, the way I figured out I had an addiction issue is I was actually one of the first drug counselors in the state of New Jersey in the public schools,
Wow.
and back in early 80s. And I had a group called Psychedelic Lunch, and we gave out a mass test. It's just a quick little 30 questions about, have you ever been arrested? Have you been to a psych hospital? Anybody ever have trouble? So I handed out, and one of the guys said, "Oh, Mr. Howard, you take it too." So we're going through, and he looks over my shoulder. If you had 3 checks, you got a problem. I said, "Mr. Howard, you got 8 checks. You got 8 checks there." And that's when it dawned on me, maybe me, I have a problem. And I don't even remember how I got to an NA meeting. I have no recollection of that. But when I walked into my first NA meeting, to me, I was home. I mean, people have trouble identifying or relating me. Man, these were my people right off the bat. I knew, okay, these people understand me. And so it was the process of going to a meeting. I said, do 90 meetings in 90 days. Well, I did a meeting every day, at least one meeting every day for 2 years. Because when you don't get clean until you're ready to get clean. And I just was ready. And I just eliminated everything else out of my mind. Went to work. But other than that, if you weren't in recovery, I couldn't be around you. And back then, there was not a meeting every day south of Trenton. So that NA was a very small fellowship, and you knew everybody. And so we would do, speaker commitments and go out of the area, and everybody pile in a car and go speak someplace. And then they'd come back and share, your bucketed area service and change that way. And it really, one of the things that got me was the gratitude list. I kept a 3x5 card in my wallet with my gratitude list on it, because this is before cell phones. And I would get it out and I would look at it. Why am I in recovery? What is good about my life? What is going on? And that was really a driving force. And, get a sponsor. I would, clean up. I hated cigarette smoke all my life. I grew up in a dysfunctional family. My father was a violent, but not an alcoholic. He was just violent. He was just an angry guy. And my mother was an alcoholic. And I learned that whole denial thing early. That's why I could be a drug counselor. Now I'm a drug addict, is because I learned to deny my feelings and deny my reality. If the people who quote love you beat you, are supposed to be loving you. So you have to just deny all that pain, deny all that what's wrong. And I got very much involved with, NA as a purpose, and it got involved with service, became the area activities chair, and started doing the dances and activities, because I think learning to live in recovery and enjoy life. I don't want to live in the absence of something. I want to live growing and enjoying and grabbing onto life. And that's what is meaningful to me. And so diving into service, being an area rep was a big deal to me. And it got me connected with, they said, hang with the winners, hang with the people who are investing in this recovery process, which I did. And over time, this recovery has not been an easy thing. I went through a process where, after I was 10 years in recovery, my wife just found Victorious, Alcoholics Victorious was this thing where you had a drinking sponsor, and you had a drinking plan, and you could drink, you could manage. And so she started doing this, and I lost my business, the family. She ended up relapsing, has not really recovered again in her life. But I was just like, I'm not doing this. And in all the chaos, we ended up in huge financial problems. And one night at like 3 a.m, I was looking for something to eat. I pull open the freezer door and a bag of Coke falls out on the floor.
Jeez.
And I just like took the bag, ran to the bathroom, because they told me, don't think flush. When you get confronted with a situation like that, don't think about it. Don't start pondering this situation. You know what you have to do, and that is flush that and get away from that as fast as possible, because relapse is always going to happen. And program, by being active in a program. I've had times when my son relapsed when I had like 20 years in recovery, and I can remember the feeling of wanting to use. It started, it came up from my feet and just came up right over my body. And I wanted to use so bad, because I used to escape feelings. I used to escape. I don't want to feel this. And that's what got me through my childhood. That's what, I made it. That's what allowed me to deny my realities. But, recovery is about staying in reality. Reality is the place to stay if you want to be okay. Like whatever that reality is, dealing with the reality, be real and accept and focus and function in the reality. And recovery has given me the choice of feelings and the ability to become aware of who I am. And that may be up, that may be down, that may be happy, that may be sad, whatever that is. But feelings empower me to take changes. And NA has taught me how to love myself in a way that I'm going to do the next right thing. And I know using is not loving myself. And NA also introduced me, I'm powerless over my addiction and my life is unmanageable. That first step, that doesn't mention what the addiction is. That can be food, gambling, sex, spending, work, anger. Like I said, my dad was an anger addict. He loved to freak out and just pound people. I mean, so that in all areas of my life, and I think the more you become, or more I become very aware of these different aspects of my life, they're like early red flags long before a chemical relapse. If I'm overeating, if I'm gambling, if I'm acting out sexually, that tells me I have problems, and I can come back to the steps, and the steps tell me how to live. And that teaches me what the next thing to do is. And like my son had a brain insult when he was 3 and lost everything. And to the point where they, literally kept him alive in the hospital as a, amoeba type thing. They're challenging times going through a divorce. My wife had cancer for 7 years, and I learned so much in that process by being present and being in the reality of my wife has cancer and is dying, and I'm here to deal with it because this is life. And I can run away from it, I can deny it, or I can embrace it. And I learned so much about myself in that process of her recovery. So I think the embracing life on life's terms is really what NA has taught me how to do in a mature, responsible way. And it gives me, like when my son relapsed, I picked up the phone. I didn't even stand up. I did not get on my feet because I knew that would be a dangerous, don't stand up. Just start calling people. Dogs bark, addicts want to use. That's how it is. So it doesn't matter how many years you have. It has what kind of recovery you have. What kind of tools are you ready to pull out? And I've often heard it's the people who sound the worst in the meetings are really working hard and doing the best. The people that come in and say, man, I feel like use. Man, this happened to me. I was so upset. God, I was losing my mind. I wanted to use. Well, that's how you don't use. You come in and you talk about it. You tell your friends, your support, your sponsor, your network, and they help you through it. And they let you play out the tape. What's it going to be on the other side? I mean, I had a feeling, when I was being the drug counselor, we had a big commotion, and the staff and the school didn't like me. And they had this staff meeting to tell me because they didn't like me, the way I ran my drug program, because I didn't tell anybody anything. I had confidentiality. Can't talk about anything. It's a secret, dude. And they told me, they had this big stab. They told me horrible things. Like one guy said, "You are worse than cat shit. You are the worst thing. You stink. You are a horrible being." And like the whole staff just ripped me apart. And I had a blackout. I imagined getting a cold 6-pack of beer and putting it on the floor and watching the droplets form and starting to drink it down. And I went into a blackout. And they literally had to walk me out of that place. I had a blackout without touching chemical. Like, it's a psychosocial experience, this addiction thing. Yeah, and it's up here in my head. That's where it's happening.
And our heads are a very dangerous space. Our heads are a very dangerous place. Real quick here, Harvey, we're going to take a quick break. And we'll be back. A lot of interesting stuff. I'm jotting notes down. I'm going to ask tons of questions the second half here on the show. But also, I want everybody to stay tuned after this commercial break because I have a special announcement about the Podfather, guys. Special announcement.
Cool.
Go ahead, Podfather.
Okay, Friends in Recovery podcast. We'll be right back.
You're first. First to respond. First to put others' lives before your own. And in an emergency, you need a network that puts you first, that connects you to technology, to each other, and to other agencies. Built with and for first responders. FirstNet, the only congressionally authorized wireless network for first responders. Because putting you first is our job.
Since 1992, Genesis House has been helping real people heal from addiction on their private recovery campus in beautiful Palm Beach County, Florida. Their family-owned program is accredited by the Joint Commission and offers detox and dual diagnosis treatment in a comfortable and confidential setting. At Genesis House, they focus on treating the underlying causes of addiction. Their comprehensive approach includes psychiatric care, individual and small group therapy, trauma healing techniques, and holistic care including yoga, massage, and animal-assisted therapy. After treatment, their clients enjoy the lifelong support of a nationwide network of Genesis House alumni. Call Genesis House today at 1-800-737-0933 to speak with someone who understands. Visit them on the web at www.genesishouse.net. It's time to start your journey to a long and successful recovery.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Friends in Recovery podcast.com. I am the Podfather, Mike Miles.
Jersey Egg, guys.
And it's noontime with Sky.
And
Out of the noon.
That's right. And our very special guest, Harvey Howard. We're gonna bring him back on. He has the wild, guys, you got to see him if you're not watching. Wild hair, beard. It looks like a bandana. He's probably in the middle of the woods somewhere. And I think there's a bunch of squirrels running his internet, right?
Grizzly Adams has nothing on Harvey.
That's right. But it doesn't matter what he looks like. It's the fucking recovery he has, guys. And that first half of the show was amazing. And give me a minute. I'm going to bring him back in. But you guys know what time it is, right?
Yep, podcast. Yeah. Sober Pod.
Wrong, completely wrong. It is Podfather's birthday time, guys.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Happy birthday, Podfather. That's right. That's right.
Older than dirt. Older than dirt.
So happy birthday, Podfather.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for being on this show with us and starting this whole community for us. Real quick, guys, and Harvey and Skyland knows this, but if it wasn't for the Podfather and wasn't for what he proposed to me one day at a cigar shop, no, it wasn't that, guys. All right. It was, he wanted me to do a podcast with him. I'm like, I don't know how to fucking do a podcast. Are you kidding me? And him and I just took a deep breath, jumped into it, and we've been doing it for almost probably going on 4. Is this 4 years or 3 years, Podfather?
We're just finishing our third year, right?
Third year, yes. Yeah, you're going into our fourth. So, and I remember, I want to give a quick little walk down memory lane here, but I remember when we first started the show, it was your podcast. It was your birthday not too far into it. And we did a birthday show for the Podfather.
and that's right.
We had some guests on. It was a
Huge
lot of
cake.
fun. Yeah. So if you guys look back at the beginning, like the first year of the show, you'll see Podfather's birthday. Real quick, Podfather, before I talk about what I really want to talk about next, Sober Pod, is let's see that watch you got there. He's sporting some kind of cool
There it is.
watch. What is
Daniel
that?
Steger, yep.
Look
I
at
bought it out
that.
of the New York Post.
That
It came with some nice aviator shades too, but I'm one of these people. I only wear shades when I'm outside. You know,
that's a $20,000 watch there.
that
he's
is,
wearing.
yep. And I got it for $100.
Very nice, stylish.
Free shipping. Yes.
Free shipping. When you're
I bought
buying
this
it,
for my birthday. That's the only thing I bought for myself. And
congratulations,
and a box
Podfather.
of cigars. Yep. Thanks.
All right. Happy birthday, Podfather. But now here it is, guys.
Here it
Everything
is.
you've been waiting for and more is
Drum roll. Hope there's a drum roll for this.
no drum roll. It's just Sober Pod, guys. Sober
Sober
Pod.
Pod.
Hi, guys. Hi, Karla, Ellen, Steve, and Chelsea over there on the West Coast, or we like to say the left coast, right, Podfather?
Oh,
We
that's the left coast for sure.
we won't get into that, but anyways, you know, we just, you know, they have a great show over there, and you know,
Sure.
I know Karl and I are really good friends. We talk a lot, and we kind of go back and forth with ideas about shows and ideas and how to help addicts and alcoholics. He's a really, really good guy to have. And listen, you can get that just by listening to the show. Just look up Sober Pod, and you'll get a great show. They have tons of different shows. They don't do interviews like us, like we're doing today with Harvey, but they do. They talk on subjects.
How long have they been on? They've been on a while.
They've been on as long as we were. They came on about 6 months before us, so they're about 6 months older than us. So, and you know, just great guys. So just say hello to them, and that's enough because they don't talk this long about friends and recovery.
No,
okay,
they
guys.
barely mention it. What I like is when they call you Fred and not Ed. You know.
Yeah,
They go,
exactly.
Jersey Fred.
Jersey Fred. Well, they were talking about lobsters last show. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they love your
love
lobster stuff over there. Yeah.
Awesome.
So, anyways, guys, so back to the show. Harvey Howard, long-term recovery, a big NA guy,
Right.
lives, eats, breathes, sleeps recovery. I think he hasn't shaved since day one of his recovery. So that's how long he's been in recovery.
No, I
I'm glad
really
you can
like.
take a joke, Harvey. Thanks.
I really like what you were talking. You was talking old school there for a while. When you were talking about bookies and commitments, I remember, you know, we had every group I belonged to, I went to, they had a bookie, and they would book other people to come in from different towns. And
Right.
it was just, you know, back then I'd go to a meeting every night. I never missed a meeting for about 5 years, and all these different people would come and speak, and the message, you know, and my sponsor used to say, excuse me, you know, try to identify, don't judge, just try to identify with the speaker. Don't judge the speaker. You know, in other words, never mind what they look like, never mind, you know, how they're dressed or whatever. You know, if a guy come up in a business suit and stuff, you know, would turn me off. But he said, listen to what they're saying and identify. And, you know, I identified with 60-year-old mothers, housewives, with you know, 40-year-old construction workers, and firemen. It was just, it was good advice. And boy, I miss those old days. I really do.
Podfather, you tell a story about the cop and robber story, because you were you're a retired cop, and you had a friend in the program that you arrested, right? And you guys were good buddies.
I had a few of them. Yeah, Tommy Q. He beat a guy with an axe handle, and as I was driving by this park, I saw a guy running. He was bleeding profusely, and there was a guy chasing him with an axe handle. And I pulled over, and lo and behold, the kid with the axe handle is a kid I grew up with, and I had to arrest him. You know, and so anyway, my first meeting I go to, and there he is, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna kick my ass. I know he is. That axe handle's still in his truck. You know? But 2 weeks later, we were snow skiing. We were watching the Celtics in the playoffs. I was single then. And to this day, Tommy Q still sober. We're friends, and
good.
He's done well for himself. You know,
that's what's so good about the program is it doesn't matter what your background is, what you look like, your sexuality, all that stuff, your political beliefs. You don't even know what anybody's political beliefs are, because that subject doesn't come up. Nope. You know, it's just, you know, God of your understanding, you know, higher power, and let's get better. Sure. What can we do for you? Or how can we help you with your problem?
Yeah. 35 years ago, I met a guy in AA. His name was Kevin He's dead now, McCluskey, and he was from a small town next to Lowell, and he was a
Oh.
transgender. He dressed, he wore skirts, but he was a rugged kid, though. No one ever said much to him, I'll tell you that, because it tear your head off. But you know, he was. But the most important thing was he was so into the program. At the end of every prayer, the Lord's Prayer, he'd say, "Meeting makers make it." And he'd go around and grab people and look them in the eye and say, "Don't forget, meeting makers make it." You know, and you know, and at first it was hard to take him serious because he'd have on a plaid skirt, and you know, but
it's okay.
but over the years, go on commitments and get to know him, and I just love that guy. He died way too young, but yeah. You know, like I said, doesn't matter what anyone looks like or what how they're dressed. It's you know what's in here, what's coming from here. You know, it's good stuff.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And so Harvey, so where are you at now? Like your life is pretty good, I'm imagining, because I know because of the you know, when you spoke, and I know you're kind of out in the woods now, you do a lot of nature stuff. I love hearing that stuff. You want to talk a little bit about that? What you're doing?
3 years ago, when my wife died of cancer, I just stopped. I just went down to Georgia, started hiking on the Appalachian Trail, hiked up to Maine. And that 6 months just was a complete change in my life. And I never went back to work. I figured, you know, I got enough. You know, I'm not wealthy. I can't travel the world, and, you know, I don't drive a Ferrari. I got enough. I think
Maserati, that's about it.
Yeah, you know, whatever it is. And but so, you know, I did that 2,000-mile hike in 2018. Then 2019, we did 6 months in a small, actually a Toyota Sienna. Turned it into a little camper van and just drove around hiking all the national parks.
Cool.
And then 2020, I was doing, we were hiking the Pacific Crest Trail from Mexico to Canada when COVID hit. And that, you know, we got off the trail because we were told to get off the trail, and we just stayed out west and ended up hiking the Colorado Trail and spending 6 months just being out in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado and Arizona. And now we've bought a Transit, 2019 Transit cargo van up here in Western Pennsylvania. Don't build your van out December through March, because it's cold. But you know, don't work outside. But we did. We finished it off, and at the end of the month, I'm going to go hike the Appalachian Trail for a while. My son's hiking it. He started in March, and I'm going to go down and hook up with him, and we'll hike for however long that goes. And then we'll probably go out west after that and go hiking. You know, I met a woman on the AT in 2018, and we've been together ever since.
Cool.
And pretty much, you know, recovery has given me the opportunity to be with the people I want to be with and do the things I want to do. And if people don't like me, I'm okay with that. They can all move away, because I'm okay with me. You know,
you're not leaving, right?
Right, I'm doing my thing. I'm not bothering anybody. Move away.
Sounds like you got a pretty good life going on there, Harvey. Yeah, I'm envious. I'm listening to this, and I'm loving it.
I can't. And that's another thing I always tell myself. There's just not that many problems. I'm my inconveniences there. I mean, I don't have problems. I have inconveniences. I mean, like 2020 was a wonderful year for us. We had a great year. We traveled, we hiked. My girlfriend got a job as the editor of a long trail, The Trek, which is a long trail journal online. And so now she can do it from anywhere in the country. We can travel, she can work. She likes to do that. She's, you know, into journalism. We can just do whatever we want to do. And that's the gift of recovery, of doing the work, showing up, doing the work.
Right.
It's a perfect example. You don't, you know, everybody's always looking for the rich and famous and the billions of dollars. And people think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Harvey, people think that's going to bring them happiness, money, and fortunes. That is not what brings you happiness. It's exactly what Harvey just said. It's the freedom from alcohol and drugs, number one. It's the freedom just to be able to get up and go and do what you need to do in life. And you know, when when you're tied down with this and that and everything else, are you really living? Are you really? I mean, I don't know. When I heard your story, I was envious. I'm like, AT guys, if you don't know what it means, it means Appalachian Trail. Somebody had to tell me that a while ago, but that's what it stands for, is Appalachian Trail. And I would love to just get up and hike the Appalachian Trail, but houses, kids, and all that stuff kind of bogs me down. My recovery's strong, thank God, but that's a great life, Harvey. That's just wonderful.
Right.
And it's just amazing.
We never know exactly what we're going to be doing. People say, well, what do you do this, do that, and see where we go from there. And like when the Pacific Crest Trail there, when that fell out, we ended up hiking in Arizona. We didn't realize it, but we were parked at a Colorado trailhead for the Colorado Trail. And we said, well, let's hike this trail. And it's 480 miles. We got ourselves together and off we went. And we just had phenomenal experiences, and you meet great people. Because if you're going to just carry everything that you need on your your back, you thin out a lot of complainers. Everybody's a volunteer out there. Nobody's there because they have to.
So, Harvey, did your wife used to hike and stuff? Were you already into stuff like that before she had passed?
Her idea of camping, and she would go camping as much as I wanted, as long as we could be at the Holiday Inn at night and there'd be chocolates on the pillow. So for 30 years, I did not do.
Okay. So
we did nothing of that. But after she died, it was like,
kind of sparked that.
I can do this, and bam, I did it.
Because I love how you turn your grief into, like you said, a dream that you've always wanted, because that's not easy, losing someone, and you guys are married a long time. So that's a lot. And you turn your grief into something positive like that. And the thing is, it's a great point to show how we all grieve differently, because I think some people think we have to go to therapy and go through these 5 stages a certain way, but it might be in the Appalachian Trail when you're walking up there that you're going through your acceptance or you're bargaining. So that's really cool. It's a good example for the audience to see that there's other ways to grieve,
Right. And there's a lot of people, whether it's veterans, a lot of people out of the service, a lot of police who are coming off of a long career. They've had some, challenging stuff, and they're sorting it out. You just go out and get with your own head and get out there in nature and beauty, and just limit. It just cuts everything down to a very small, manageable lifestyle. And lets you breathe. That was really good.
Well, if you're up here on the East Coast, anywhere near New Hampshire, Mass, Maine, give us a call or a shout out. We'll meet you.
Yes. Well, the Podfather did the Podfather did he did the Appalachian, the AT, right, Podfather? When you retired.
Yeah, in a vehicle. Yeah.
In a vehicle, in a plane. Boom, flew right over it. Done. Well, Harvey, thank you so much.
I like the.
Oh, good.
Yeah, great having you on, Harvey. Great guest. Honestly,
yeah. Thank you, Harvey.
Made my day.
Yeah, absolutely. And in closing, do you have any wisdom that you wanted to impart? Any trail wisdom that you want to impart to everybody out there?
I think it's really worth it to search for find yourself when you're happy, and notice you're happy, and replicate that. Do the things that make you happy, and go to places and be with people, and you'll find other people you match up with. Just like at a meeting, I went out on the trail. I have lots of trail friends, and people want to be in the woods. Whatever makes you happy, go ahead and do it, whether it's motorcycles or cooking or whatever it is.
Amen. Absolutely.
Cool. Thanks for having me on the show, Ed.
Yeah. Harvey Howard from NA Long-Term Recovery. We really appreciate it. Guys, another good show. Skylar, I know. Did you see Harvey when he was on the show?
I came on that meeting late.
Okay.
But I did actually come on when he was sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Got on late.
And guys, you know what? Yeah, it's normal for you. When he was sharing, and if you see the adventures thing here, Harvey was kind of inspirational for me to put, believe it or not, Harvey, you were inspirational for me to put this adventures thing together. I'm like, if that guy can do it and I have no hair and he has hair, I can figure something out for these adventures. And that's kind of how I'll be honest with you. I mean, obviously there was other things, but when I seen Harvey doing it, I'm like, if he can do it, I can do it. God damn it. So, and that's when we got our adventures together. And, we're doing things like Harvey says, we're not doing 6-month trails and all that,
Right,
but
right.
we're doing camping trips. We're doing roller skating stuff we've never, I'm 55 years old. I'm roller skating, 3
Right.
weeks ago, just out of our shell, celebrating recovery because we could do this stuff. That's why,
Right.
you know what I
Right.
mean?
Be alive. Be alive.
Yeah,
Jump
be
out
alive.
there and
Exactly.
Be alive.
Exactly.
Living,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So, well, guys, another good show, Podfather.
Great.
Sky, any
Yep.
closing words you want to take us out or anything?
Yeah, this
No?
is great. This is great. I loved it.
Yeah, good.
Very memorable show. He won't,
Absolutely.
Harvey will not be forgotten soon. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
No, seriously, I love seeing a free spirit. Somebody
Awesome.
that just
Nice to meet you.
happy as hell. Loving it.
Yeah. Podfather, happy birthday.
Yes.
We're glad you're with us.
Right,
Thank you
right.
so much. And,
Still here.
Yeah,
See
you're
what
still
the year
here. And
brings, right? Hey, everybody, friendsandrecoverypodcast.com. Stay sober, everyone.
stay sober, guys.
This concludes this episode of Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast. Thanks to Genesis House, FirstNet, built with AT&T, for supporting those on the path to recovery and keeping this valuable resource free for all our friends in recovery. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates, and enjoy free access to twice-daily support meetings. Brought to you by Genesis House and the Friends in Recovery. If you can't get enough of Mike, the Podfather, Jersey Ed, and Skylar, you can catch them on Answering the Call, the First Responders Podcast, available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and GenesisHouse.net.